future, Judd.
Hey, so I got a few minutes because traffic sucks because rain apparently makes people stupid. It's the facts, people. Them's the facts. But apparently there's a statewide necessity to go 30 miles an hour on the highway the second a raindrop hits the windshield. Not my rules. Anyway, so something I'd like to touch on in a little more cohesive fashion is the deal about GATE. And when I went through it, it was called Talented and Gifted. We called it TAG. And I should have known, well, of course I didn't know. I was in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. But looking back, of course it's government run. It has a 3-letter acronym. I mean, come on. TAG. And so we had this lady, Mrs. Davis. It's taken me years to remember her name. And I'm not even sure if I have the right name. I was thinking something completely different till one day Mrs. Davis popped into my head. But I have what really set me off, more so than the activities that happened in this group, was the similarities that the participants in it share. So most of us are firstborn sons. Now I'm adopted, so that gets a little iffy. But at least in my adopted family, I am indeed a firstborn son. And I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. That is another coincidence. And another one is, we'll call it an adventurous lifestyle with very few legal repercussions, where others might have far more. And I can definitely associate with that. There are many more similarities that it was just a one by one association, and it freaked me out to the point where I didn't talk to anybody for the rest of the day. And not that I talk to anybody usually, but I was freaked out. I don't like talking about it because it's very real. And so I'll give a little indication of what I remember us doing. First and foremost was Stories with Holes, which is basically, as it sounds, they'd come up with, it was a book that Mrs. Davis, we'll call her, read out of. And it was riddles, and you'd have to solve a riddle based on the missing information. Now, one of the theories, oh my God, for some reason my eyelashes are sticking together and it's driving me up the wall. I was shaving my head earlier, and I think I got some soap on them. I did get some soap on them because I got it in my eyes. Anywho, I won't cut that out because I don't know how. So yeah, the Stories with Holes. And another thing we did was kind of like Rorschach tests, only it was fitting, it was matching one side of a paper with another. And looking back, I believe that was a test for psychic abilities. Because what they do, yeah, how could it be anything but? They'd have us assemble these blocks, kind of. Oh wow, the more I think about it, the more I can remember them. They were little red plastic shapes. I can remember the sound of them touching the table. Very strange. And we'd have to organize them in a certain way. I really don't remember a lot of this. I wish I remembered more. What I do remember is I would get pulled out of class. I would go to a room. Sometimes it had windows, and other times we went to a different room for no reason, that had no windows, and that's another thing. And we would listen to things on headphones. I mean, I got one thing after another. I'm such a bad communicator of these things because I can't remember them, and I don't remember a lot of my childhood. But yeah, it turns out a lot of people have done digging, and this was most definitely a government-run program. It was public school. Of course it was a government-run program. And many people think that they were looking for those who can engage in remote viewing and out-of-body experiences, which I have had later on in life. I have had so many unexplainable experiences. Well, unexplainable by the stereotypical, physical world we live in. Feel like there's somebody that I know that could easily answer questions, but I don't know. It's always felt kind of weird. I've always felt kind of weird because I'm adopted, like I said, and the history of my biological family is really it's hard to move past. It's very weighty, and then the family I grew up in isn't very healthy. Why am I talking about this? I don't know why I'm talking about this. But I guess, I would be perfect choice for a government program. And I would love to get my school records. I know that I was better at most things than other students without trying. And that's another thing. This is gonna sound like I'm bragging, and I've been really struggling with sounding like I'm bragging while not at all bragging, because it's kind of a curse. I've always been able to innately know things for no reason other than I know them, and it's just always been the case. In fact, it's almost as though I fought the knowing and actively forgot those things. I think I've discussed this in another video, but I had a really weird experience with yet another failed government-run program, DARE. Drug Awareness Resistance Education. I had a really funny time there because this sounds ridiculous, but I always knew that I would grow up to be a heroin addict. It's like, I just knew. And so I never took that very seriously, and then I did grow up to become a heroin addict. And so it brings up this whole predestination, which came first, the knowledge. Life is very strange, is all I'm trying to say. And, golly. This was not a very helpful video. It's 9 minutes long, and I've explained absolutely nothing. Anyway, that's what I was getting at. I was always really smart. Smart as in I know things, but not smart as in capable. I'm very bad at doing things. I fail at pretty much everything. Yet I can pass tests just by doing it, even if I haven't studied the subject. It's, now, if it's something I'm interested in, I can really just boom, I can knock it out, and I can really, really excel. Anyway, so I wasn't even doing particularly well in school, when they selected me for this talented and gifted program. And maybe that was part of the justification, was that, oh, maybe he just needs a little more special attention. Makes me sound like one of those short bus kids. A lot of kids report, I should have prepared more for this. A lot of kids report having to drink some pink liquid. I think every kid in that went to school in that time period had to. I don't know what it was. They told us it was fluoride, which, if that's the case, is fucked up enough. Why were they giving us fluoride at school? That should definitely not be something that they do at school. And if it wasn't fluoride, which it doesn't really make sense that it would be, what was it and why were they giving it to us? And does the entrance into TAG or the existence of TAG have anything to do with that pink liquid? I don't know. A lot of people who were in similar situations as myself seem to think so. I don't particularly think so. I do remember the pink liquid, but I remember it further back than TAG. I remember it in second grade. Second grade. I'm at my kid's school. This is a bogus video. Sorry it's not more helpful. Anyway, have a great day.